about further attacks? Because it sounds from what you're saying as if the two masked men that were seen on the property have fled, and obviously that will be, I think, a priority for the investigators.
OK, Christian Fraser, thanks very much indeed for that. News coming from the news agency Reuters, which is now saying that 11 people are dead. And 10 people have been wounded, of which 5 are critically ill. This is in this shooting, in case you've only just joined us, at the offices of a satirical magazine, a weekly satirical magazine in the suburbs of Paris. French prosecutors had confirmed that 10 people had been killed during this attack, but Reuters are now reporting that 11 people have been killed. 10 have been wounded, of which 5 are critically ill. Reuters is quoting police sources there. An eyewitness has been talking to French television and had said that he saw multiple masked men armed with automatic weapons go into the building, and then he also said he heard shots being fired, and a union official for the French police said that the attackers escaped in 2 vehicles. Obviously, I'm reporting things that are coming into us at the BBC. Not all of them have been verified. Well, our security correspondent Frank Gardner is here. Frank, obviously this is a developing story and details only just coming into us now, but this is not the first time, is it, that this magazine has been targeted?
It's not, but this is shaping up to be one of the most serious terrorist attacks in recent history in Europe. A body count of 10 or 11, if that's confirmed, is really serious. It follows a number of hit-and-run attacks in France that they've experienced over the last few months, where lone attackers, often with psychological problems, with a history of mental problems, have driven vehicles into crowds of people shouting Allahu Akbar, but they don't appear, those ones, to have been directed by anybody. These are sort of people with their own personal issues and problems. This is far more organised. This is in a totally different league or level of its own, clearly well organised. This newspaper, Charlie Hebdo, which was deeply unpopular with many Muslims because it satirised, in their view, their religion. It had its own security, but that wasn't enough. One report said that the police turned up unarmed on bicycles and then fled. So, clearly this was a bit of an open window for whoever wanted to attack them. The really worrying thing is that the attackers are still on the loose. They have fled in a car.
I think we're getting some more pictures of the scene, Frank. Just as we're talking to you, Christian Fraser was telling us that he's been to the offices of this magazine. It's in the suburbs of Paris, although, as you're saying, this magazine has been targeted, so there was a degree of security, although one wonders how strong that was.
Well, not pretty rubbish, frankly.
Yes, and I mean, obviously it's far too early for us to start speculating, but I mean, questions are now going to be asked about how this could have happened.
Yes, I mean, France has been on a heightened state of alert for quite some time. The French authorities deployed hundreds of troops, of uniformed troops, around public places like the Eiffel Tower, Arc de Triomphe and so on, over Christmas, because they feared an attack along the lines of the one in Ottawa, where in Ottawa you had somebody who was an effectively unarmed soldier who was an open target for people. Now, I think it's far too early to say that this has been directed by Al-Qaeda or by ISIS. It's far more likely to be people who have decided to do this themselves, but inspired by something else. In fact, it's probably too early to even say categorically that this is even Islamist. It's almost certainly, given the light of previous attacks, it's likely to be, but we should stop short of saying it categorically is. There's been no immediate claim of responsibility.
OK, well, we'll talk to you again in a little while. Frank, for now, many thanks. So just to repeat that news, that French police are now saying that 11 people have been killed in this shooting at this satirical magazine in the suburbs of Paris. On the line now is David Schur, who is at the scene of the attack. We're very grateful for you to talk to us. What have you seen?
At the moment now, I'm still from a few meters from the scene, and all the police ask us to be removed. A lot of people from the shops have heard a lot of gunshots, and two guys entered with Kalashnikov's guns and shoot the people in. And I haven't seen them directly, but people around me told me that they just went away, and people are very shocked. And all the policemen came, and after the president came by, and mayor of Paris too. It's pretty serious. Is the most I can say at the moment.
So, sorry, just to clarify, because you are there, has the French president and the French mayor, have they already arrived at the scene?
I've heard about that. I haven't seen him directly, and the mayor, Anne Hidalgo, came also, but someone from the district just told me that, and I haven't witnessed their arrival, actually. I don't know if they're still there.
And what did you hear? Just remind us.
It's just reports from the people. I've just arrived like 20 minutes or 30 minutes ago. That's the only thing that I can say.
And just tell us a little bit more about the scene. We're now watching live pictures which are coming into us from Paris. There's clearly a huge police presence there at the moment. What else can you see?
There are a lot of people there, a lot of policemen. Everything is stuck. We can access the street and the scene part. People actually forbid people and citizens to get there because it's pretty serious, and some ambulances are still arriving, I suppose, for the victims, and people are still, like, policemen are basically everywhere, literally.
Is it an area you know? I just wondered, this is a magazine, we understand, that has been targeted before, and I wondered whether there was a security presence there routinely.
That's right. I don't know much about the first attack a few months ago, but the thing is, I know that generally in some places such like this, because I used to work once in another TV news office, the security in television are better, but in some magazines like this, I'm not sure that it's very, very, very safe. So I can't say more. I don't want to say something that I can't really check myself. I think it's a pretty much middle class district, and it's not like a high standing district. So I don't think that the security was very very good to prevent them from this kind of attack. And because the first time there was no victim, as far as I know, I don't think that they didn't expect to see this kind of attack against them.
No, and just tell us a little bit more about exactly where this is in Paris, because our correspondent who used to work there say it's in the suburbs. Is it a busy area, or is it fairly quiet?
It's not in the suburb at all. It's quite close to the downtown. It's like it's in the 11th district,
right?
And it's actually an avenue very well known, and it's from Bastille and Republic, for the people who are familiar with Paris, and it's actually inside Paris, not in the suburb at all.
It's in the centre, so this would have been busy at this time of the morning, would it?
Yeah, now it's very busy because all the traffic is stuck for a lot of vehicles, and people have to make detours to go their ways, because it's kind of big avenue used by cars to go from a point to another. So it's in a very important spot for
policemen to protect them. Here, journalists and security people were cowardly assassinated. As I speak to you, 11 people died and 4 are in a critical condition. We don't have the final toll of all the victims, but we have about 40 people who are protected. In the next few hours, we will have the final toll. At 14 hours local time, I will have the ministers and officials meeting in the Élysée, who are in charge of the protection. We have to reassure protection in all locations so that the same act could not happen again by barbaric people. We have engaged the highest security level There are also security measures that have been launched to apprehend the assailant of this attack, and they have to be arrested and brought before justice.